Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As always, I'm your host, Mike. Hello. How's everybody doing? Kicking back, relaxing? Good. Glad to hear it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, this one's nowhere near as far along as I'd hoped. One quick second. I'm just gonna switch characters. And I am not confident in my character naming scheme quality. To just go for it, you know? Oh, I remember this build being a lot of fun. And we're back. Hello! Welcome back. How's it going, everybody? I'm just gonna dump everything on the ground here because we don't care about anything. Maybe these. Probably not. Just dumping it. It's a cool item, I like it. We're dumping it all. Heading on in. Well, it looks like we've enabled empowered at least. We don't have anything here, so let's go try this one empowered. See if we can do it. See if we can handle it. If this is your first time here, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask those in chat and slap an @Last Epoch game in front of the question, so I know you're looking for an answer. If you do decide to donate or sub or anything like that, it all goes to charity. We always stream for charity. Good Sports is our charity this month. Last day of the month for that charity. Helping bring sports to little happy people around the world. Oh, we gotta get our army out. That's right, we're doing squirrels. Pew, pew, pew. It's squirrel day today. I love my squirrels. I'm wearing the... It's appropriate. I'm wearing the Ziz squirrel helmet shirt. This is the hat that I'm wearing in game is the hat on my shirt. We made for Ziz. Well, we helped him create in game. Turns all your wolves into 2 squirrels. It's pretty strong. Do we have any LP? We do have an LP on it, so I could... Okay, that's our goal here. That's our goal for the stream, is get this helmet legendary, find an exalted helmet, and slap it on this unique. Hello, I'm currently playing your game for the last 3 weeks. Currently have 125 hours. Wow. That's a lot of time. So like 45 hours a week? Is that... No, that's too high. That's a lot. It's just under 6 hours a day. That's a lot of time. It's impressive. I hope you're getting lots of time in with outside and rest and relaxation as well. Work from home, nice. Nice. Hey, how do the devs feel about Ignite bounce at the moment? Playing a Fireball Sork, stacking lots of elemental damage over time at Ignite chance, but feels the damage is very lackluster. I mean, there's like different builds that'll be better than others for sure. I think Ignite is a broader topic than specifically Sorcerer Fireball Ignite. So there might be like something missing from that build, like there might be something that we need to add in for it, and possibly there's like a really strong item you're missing. I don't know, maybe. It's hard to tell with just a quick glance at it like that. I think there are some very strong Ignite builds out there, and especially when you start getting into being able to synergize with multiplayer, it's really fun specializing a group in things like that. So like, Judd, Stansbar, and myself were playing yesterday morning. Meteor, Kelthian Blasting Agent, Ignite, Bomber, Rogue, Decoy, and Forge Strike. Force Strike spamming Ignite. So it was all three of us doing like Ignite heavy stuff. And then so I was stacking as much shred as I possibly could. That's not bad. That's nice. I don't know why I'm picking that up. Don't need on this character. We were stacking shred and like stuff was just melting. It was great. But yeah, it's tricky to go over balance of really broad topics like that. And usually we try not to hit, when we're looking at balance, we try not to hit super broad categories like that, like just being like, let's buff Ignite as a whole. And sometimes we do that for sure, but we try and look at like specific builds and interactions and improve those. So there's like ways to change how you're building your character to make it better. Yeah, it's I guess a general goal for it. Doesn't always work, doesn't always happen, doesn't always need to. I just threw this down. It's like, no, you're gonna hold one of these. Deal with it. Hello, Aaron. How's it going? I feel like it's a momentous day for you today. Hi, I trained Voles to be a mariachi. Wow, and my wife sings Tool songs backwards to plants. Our budget for our new home is $10. What's your favorite LE build right now? I think there might be a couple stretches of the truth in that lead up to that question. Let's say that. My favorite build right now is it's the Kelthian Blasting Agent that I was just talking about. So it's a unique relic for Rogue that makes your decoys explode basically right away when you throw them out, and bunch of fire damage with Cinder Strike. That's my favorite build right now. I really love this one right here that I'm playing as well. There's been a few others I've really enjoyed recently. The one I was going to play, this doesn't have enough stuff unlocked right at the start of the stream, was Deathsteel Reaper. Had a ton of fun with that recently. Really enjoyed zombies, like fast exploding zombies. A ton of fun with that recently too. There's lots of them. I'm kind of biased though, like, and I'm a bit of a sucker for lots of different stuff. So it's tough for me to find a build that I'm not like, oh, I'm just having fun. Yeah, if no more people coming in here, if you've got a question for me, please put at Last Epoch Game in the question so I see it stand out just a scotch better. One here that I did notice from Gummy3152. My name is Gummy. Hey Gummy, fave games are Diablo and PoE. Looking to purchase this game, looks sick. Are there summon or builds? Yes, there definitely are summoner builds. I happen to be playing a summoner build right now. This is a summon wolf build. There's two primary classes that are very summon heavy. So Beastmaster, very summon heavy. You can do lots of summon stuff in Shaman and Druid too, but very summon heavy on the Beastmaster. Necromancer is a mastery for the Acolyte, also extremely summon heavy. You can also do stuff on the Lich that summon as well. There's summon builds for various Sentinel masteries, mostly in Forge Guard. There's also summon builds in Rogue that you can stretch it and say there's some builds in Rogue, I guess. But it's there will be more as well. Falconer is going to be a summoner class as well, less traditional, but will still be still classified as a summoner class. And yeah, so like in Beastmaster, I've got Summon Wolf, Summon Thorn Totem. You can also summon Claw Totems with Swipe, which I'm actually doing. You can summon a Warcry Totem, summon Stormcrow, Serpent Strike can summon a Serpent as well. Summon Bear, summon Scorpion, summon Frenzy Totem, summon Sabertooth, summon Raptor, summon Storm Totem. A summon Spriggan. There's summons in Swarmblade form. There's a lot of summons around. Thank you very much, Heavy Gaming. We subbed for 17 months in a row. Couldn't catch a dev stream in a long time. Yeah, I think last week I made a note to myself. I'm like, I haven't seen Heavy in a while. Glad to have you back. So I think I saw you updated some of your loot filter guides recently, or someone was just posting on that thread. Great thread if you're looking for help with a loot filter. And Gummy has also subbed. I guess you liked my answer to your question. Glad to have you with us. Hope you're having fun. Or will be having fun. Alright, more questions for multiplayer. Will I be able to use a debuff applied to a party member to increase my damage? Like Puncture, Mutilate, and a Friend with Bleed Stacker build. Mutilate, I believe, cares about bleeds on the target. So like if someone else is applying a bunch of bleeds to that target and you use Puncture on it, does it care about the bleeds that someone else has applied? I think that's the question you're asking, and I could be wrong about that note on Puncture. I'm sorry if I am, but if that's the case, yeah, it doesn't really care where those bleeds came from, just that the enemy has them. So even hypothetically, if the enemy applied the bleeds to himself because they had something similar to Bleeding Heart, I think, applies bleeds to yourself. If they had some way to apply bleeds themselves, which I don't think anything does, but hypothetically, if it did, it would not care where they came from. Which is great. So yeah, you can definitely build synergies in multiplayer that way. So like I was saying earlier yesterday, Judd Stensor and I were playing, and we were all playing fire builds, and at the start of it, I was not doing much fire res shred, but I started taking points in that for my primary ability so that I could reduce the fire resistance that they had, so that Stensor and Judd could do more damage. And it worked pretty well. We were like 70s and 80s in empowers, and it was weird. We're getting the job done. Not on optimal builds either. That's the thing. Often when we play multiplayer tests and things like that, we're just like, let's do something funny, try something out. Any rough estimates on when 0.9 goes live? No, sorry. I believe in the Ziz interview, or possibly Steel Mage interview that happened recently, I think Dan said that the goal was this year. I think that's what was done there. I yield to whatever that interview says. So if someone has a link to that or knows what it is, please feel free to post that update in the chat for them. But yeah, that's the most up to date info on. It's basically when it's ready though. We're really big on. We know that this is sort of a crucial moment in our game's development where a lot of people, when we release multiplayer, it's going to be a live game for a lot of people, and it's going to be a point where a lot of new people are going to start taking a look at it and actually giving it a shot. People that have been considering looking at it for a while and just sort of waiting for multiplayer to go live because they don't want to waste time with offline characters, that the stuff never gets moved forward, things like that. And that's totally expected. And so when we do go live with multiplayer, we know that there's going to be a bit of an influx in people and a lot of new players with their first impressions on it. We want that to be a good first experience, so we need to make sure that experience is solid. We've been doing our closed beta testing for multiplayer, or closed alpha testing, as you want to call it, for multiplayer for a while now, which you can sign up to join if you're really keen on it. Links somewhere on our Discord, on our forums, on our Reddit, everywhere. There's links for that. Just search Community Tester Program. Or CTs. Hold on. Oh, we're good. Get out of here. Skedaddle. That Echo finished portal and like clicking on it and getting portaled back to here. That process is so unbelievably fast in multiplayer. It's great. Like you press T, click just slightly above your character, and you're back here before you even see your portal open. It's great. I love it. It's such a, like, just blink and you miss it. Alright. How many new uniques can we expect on multiplayer patch? We put uniques in fairly close to when the patch dates happen, so we haven't actually put that many uniques in yet. There's a few that have been put in, a couple supporter uniques, couple just because we felt like it. So like someone comes up with a cool idea. We have a channel, so most of our stuff's run through private Discord, and one of the channels is just unique ideas, unique item ideas, and so anyone doesn't matter if you're like title says you're a designer or not. Anyone can just post ideas in there on our Discord, and sometimes if we come up with a good one, we'll just be like, yeah, let's slap that in. Away we go. Oh, thank you very much, Vision GL, coming in with the raiding party. Pew, pew, pew. Welcome everyone from Vision Stream. How's it going? Glad to have you with us. Hope the journey wasn't too arduous. Alright, any plans to add an audio cue when you drop to low health? Is there not already? Like, squirrels do too good of a job. We're definitely at, I think we hit what is considered low health. So no, it doesn't sound like there is. I don't think there's specific plans. No, it's a suggestion that I'm a little surprised it's not in there. But yeah, if you've got suggestions like that you'd like to see in there, head on over to the forums, head on over to Discord, post them in the relevant suggestion labeled categories. That's how they have the best chance of getting slapped on in. I forgot this. I should be shouting, right? This is the build that, like, is this double shout tricks with landing? No, that's Werebear. Never mind. It's been a while. This is a build I made a while ago. I haven't had a chance to make new builds for the last few weeks, and I've been playing a lot of Holy Trail Javelin, which has been a lot of fun. But it was dragging a little bit for me. Because it's been about a month of that, so I figured I'd try something new, mix it up a bit, so I went back to an old build I haven't played in a while here on stream. Really enjoying it. I don't know, I love the squirrels. They move so quick. There's just a swarm of them. It's great. Alright. Here's a question that I think's for me. Not labeled, but I think it is, because it's a first-time chatter, which is totally understandable. So I'm level 58, just killed Lagon a couple levels ago, still working through the story campaign. Do I need to worry much before level 75? Because I'm having fun just playing the game, but worry I'm going to get myself come end game. Yeah, you should be good. There's very little. There's only two things you can't redo, you can't fix, you can't change, you can't fix is you can't change your base class selection, and you cannot change your mastery class selection. So these two things right here are the only things you cannot change. Everything else you can literally just change whenever you want. Well, not whenever, you have to go to the town to change it for the passives, but like you can change up whatever you want. It doesn't matter. There's no there's a very small grind that happens with releveling your abilities, but there's mechanics for them to catch up. So especially if you're high level, you can go into a Monolith Echo later on, and you can I'll show you some experience ones where what you do is you complete the Echo, drop the experience tomes, or you don't quite pop the experience tomes. You despecialize your skill, respecialize into a new one, pick up the tomes, and suddenly it's basically leveled to the point where it's functional enough to just keep going, and that's a pretty easy thing to do. And passives is just a little bit of gold to respec those. So there's really you're not gonna get to a point where you're stuck, I don't think. Get some buffs out for those squirrely boys. Just crushing it, eh? Oh yeah, hey bud, just crushing it. Should we snag some of these? Cool stuff there. For multiplayer, will I be able to use a I think I already answered that. Double question. Falconer Win, don't forget to put at Last Epoch game in the question 1.0. Good day, sir. Any plans on bringing back Ravaging Stance? Not as a primary activated ability, no. I don't think it'll ever show up in, like, as one of these. It's possible that it might show up as, like, a triggered ability in like, a passive point, or possibly, like, a triggered ability on, like, a unique or something like that. But I don't think we'll ever see it again as a primary activated ability. Here's an experience one that I'll show you. How do you guys feel about Monolith Modifiers? While there is the assumption you ignore the mods that hurt your build too hard in general, I feel even at 1 stack, some modifiers are insanely hard. I just feel like taking no damage for 4 to 5 arenas, then getting one shot over and over by white mobs. Spike damage is so frustrating. Yeah, there are certain builds that are susceptible to certain mods in the Monolith, and I think sometimes we do get the feedback that there are that distribution of builds that the mods in the Monolith can affect negatively focus too heavily on crit focusing hit builds, hit melee builds, and it's just crit builds in general, really. And that might be true. It's a very popular playstyle, and I don't think that having that poison hits like a truck. I think that's a big consideration in build crafting is how much stuff do I struggle with in the game world? How much stuff am I weak to? All that sort of stuff. And I think that's a viable thing to have as a consideration with a build. I'd really like to see, and I know we've got more coming, Monolith mods. I know there's at least one more coming, because I saw it go in the other day, and then hoping for more on top of that as well. Oh, so much damage. And I think as we just get more things in the game, as there's more variety that's added in, as we just get more options, the concentration of the ones that are really bad for your specific build will drop, and just naturally this problem will lessen, I think. I think once we have a little bit bigger complement of them, we might take a look at it again. But for now, it's just a game of let's make more stuff in the game. Yeah. All right. We had 2 users reporting issues with importing my loot filter. Still trying to figure out how to reproduce and report it. Not ideal. Get the rest of their filters from them. Just get them to send me the whole zip of their filter folder, and try it then. So it's a reproduction of the exact same combination of things, because it might not be your specific filter, it might be actually a different filter that they already have that's causing the problem. Would be my advice. Just off the cuff, you know. How far into development are the last few specializations that are missing, and when can we expect them to be released? They are almost 0% into development. They are extremely early. One of them has had its primary ability ideation done, and that's it. No implementation whatsoever on any of them. They will be released by 1.0. At 1.0. Like it's for a long time we were saying like sometime between now and 1.0. Now it's just 1.0. They are not something that requires a ton of, like, but by comparison to the other things we're working on right now, it's all about prioritization of what's going to get us to launch with the best quality product as soon as possible. And unfortunately, I know a lot of people are really excited to try out those master classes, but what gets us to launch the fastest with the highest quality product? Delaying them to 1.0. So sorry, but that's the case. Sometimes when I load into a new arena, the user interface, etc. will load, however the main game arena is just black. Is that an issue or something that's possibly only end? Possibly. I think it's on my end, maybe. is what it says. Oh yeah, sorry. This is the tome. So what you can do is you can like respec an ability and then just grab these, and it just spikes your experience so heavy. We did get some more level ups. I do not remember what we were putting points into at all. So you know what we're just gonna do? We're just gonna put points into something that we already have points in. You know, just gives +1 strength, and that's just good for me. So we're just gonna go with that. We want to get an XP. I love an arena. That'd be great. Affix shards are always good. So this is what we're talking about here. So like enemies have a chance to shred armor, chance to chill, chance to dodge. So here's a good example. If you're a hit-based build, that often requires setting up a combo of elements where you're like, okay, I'm going to trigger abilities on hit, and that's going to be my primary source of damage. Suddenly, dodges are a negative multiplier on your damage. It's just a less damage taken type thing overall, and it's tricky to deal with sometimes. But I don't think that I think it's very rare that you're in a situation where there's nowhere else to go. Maybe there's something you really want back there, and I think having those internal struggles on, like, it's going to be hard to get that thing I want. Should I go for it or not? That's an interesting decision to make in the system. And removing those completely, I think, would be a mistake. There's a sweet spot on the distribution of those that we might not be hitting just right, but removing them completely, I think, would be a bigger mistake. As far as the loading in with black screen question, I have no idea. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to check with support for that. It is something I have seen before. I think the last time I saw it, it was solved by verifying game files. But if you've done any sort of troubleshooting help already, that's probably the first thing anyone told you to do. So sorry, I cannot help with tech support on stream. Bleeding Heart applies bleed stacks to you when you use a spell, plus Spirit Plague has a one that applies bleed to you. Okay, yeah, that was earlier. I was talking about bleeding to yourself. Yes, thank you, Lama. How has your week been? That's the question. It's been good. Had a good week. It's flown by for sure. I wanted to get more done, but happy with what I did get done overall. And oh, it's hot in here. Got looking forward to playing Magic tonight. We're gonna draft Commander Legends, the Battle for Baldur's Gate. I've been sitting on this booster box since the day this set launched, July 10th. July 10th? June 10th? June 10th. Somewhere in there, whenever it launched. And finally found a night to get all the friends together to draft it. Very excited. We only draft the Commander Legends sets. This is the second one we've drafted. Oh! That is an angry elf right there. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Okay. Where we going? How many people are working on LE? I don't know. Quite a few now. I think 70? Question mark? Like, are we including? I do include in that question everyone. So I include like community management, HR, other like people that aren't necessarily working directly in the engine. I still include those in that figure because everybody's working on this together. Hello there. I was wondering if there is something, or going to be something that details weekly quests, or like dailies or weekly quest details. Something like dailies or weekly quests that will be scattered all around the campaign map, especially the Ancient Era as I'm eager to discover more. Well, I can say that the Ancient Era is not finished. The campaign is not complete, and there's still plenty of time to go there and explore. As far as daily and weekly quests, we don't really have anything planned at the moment. There are daily reward cycles for dungeons, which kind of touch on that a little bit, which you've been experimenting with. So we're working on that. Thank you very much. Meyer Lurking has subbed. Awesome. Glad to have you here. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Maybe learning something. If not, totally understandable. Still learning something. You better be having fun. Oh boy. Oh no, just kidding. Oh, get out of here. Here we go. Next question. And yes, one of the devs said they were hoping a point 9 would happen this year. Yeah, I think it was Stanzor. I don't know what our idols even look like. It was probably pretty set. Do you think that Dancing Strike, Synchronized Strike, and Lethal Mirage are in a good place speed-wise? I'm having a hard time fitting them into my melee-focused build. This is always a tough question. Do you think that Skill X is in a good spot with respect to this thing? I don't know. Maybe, probably. It's really tough to make specific judgments on things like that without doing a close examination. I haven't personally made a build with one of them recently, so it's hard to evaluate off the cuff like that. But last time I played with them, I really enjoyed how they felt. If you've got specific feedback or suggestions on it, please head on over to our forums. And yeah, there's a specific feedback and suggestions category that would go perfect in. Hey, loving the game so far. Definitely worth 30 euros. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself and getting good value for your buck. Here I played APGs for 10,000 hours, and I like the different playstyles the classes bring. Would like to see more cool builds and archetypes in the coming patches. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna keep adding new skills, new items, new cool stuff to build and do. Oh. I know not everyone plays multiplayer, but there's definitely some new builds that have popped up in multiplayer. I think I feel like I've seen some things that I wasn't seeing before. So yeah. Don't forget to put at Last Epoch Game in your question if you'd like me to see it. I just scrolled past a big chunk of text that had nothing, and none of those tags, and I bet I scrolled past someone's question. When does the next patch land? When it's ready. Goal is sometime this year, but it's not guaranteed. I think it'll happen. I'm feeling good about it. Will the impending ailment changes, specifically the conversion of ailment effect to ailment penetration, only apply to skill trees, or will it also affect all occurrences of ailment effect on uniques and other things? So it's not necessarily a direct just flick a switch on every single source, but yes, it should. I think it is replaced everywhere. It may be scaled a little bit different, so like if you had like 1% increased effect, it might not be 1% penetration in all cases. There might be certain times where it's a little bit different, or possibly we've changed, especially in the case of unique items. There's a chance, we always look at those individually, and there's a chance that we may have changed the stat completely. We may have decided, hey, maybe this stat doesn't fit as well here anymore, and we want to change it to something else. There's all sorts of little things that we can do there. So it's general case, yes. Every individual specific case, maybe. Ravaging Stance already exists in Void Cleave. I knew it was there somewhere. I wasn't sure. I was like, I feel like if we haven't put it back into the game somewhere as a triggered ability, we're going to soon. And I couldn't remember if we actually did or not. Yes, apparently we already have. I love having that little pull on Shout, where it just displaces them just enough that it cancels their activated abilities, the channeling abilities. It's like boom, bye bye, bye 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 bye. Okay, ravaging. There is how far I am behind. Has there been any further discussion about moving more power out of Monolith mod numbers into corruption scaling? Yeah, it's still being balanced. It's still being looked at. We're not really doing anything specific with it right now. It's tricky to, it's a pretty deep topic to go into, and it's tricky to make it work in every situation for every single person. However, there's lots of good things and bad things about it being more heavily on the modifiers themselves. It gives you a lot of agency on a echo to echo basis. So especially if you have built up maybe a little bit too much corruption, it gives you the ability to select easier options on the fly, and not have quite as much of a I'm stuck moment. It's pretty rare that happens. But the more we move power towards, or difficulty towards corruption compared to the monolith modifiers themselves, the more that'll happen. Just in general. There's a fair few of these profane flesh. Doing lots of damage. But so am I. Well, the squirrels are, you know. But I made them, so that counts as me, right? Alright, next question. I love the loot filter in this game, but would love more control on maybe adding beam, sound, sizing options, and any of these in the works. Well, it's one thing to tell you, sizing options are explicitly not in the works. As far as beams and sounds, there's some debate on if that will ever happen or not, but it's possible. There would likely be fairly heavy restrictions on what things could have beams, how frequently beams could show up. Same with sounds. And it would be, sounds would be, if it were to happen, would be restricted to specific sounds that were in the game, not point at this MP3 on my drive and play it every time an item drops. We're not doing that. I can tell you that right now. Sometimes when I load into a new area, it's a repeat question. Is Warlock Acolyte in development? Technically, yes, I guess, but not really, no. It will be ready by 1.0, but it is not going to be ready before then, and we're not actively working on it yet. How many more server resets do you think there will be if you had to guess? It's kind of a... Like, I can answer that question so many different ways depending on how you define server resets. So, my first answer is several 100,000. And then when we define server resets to be something other than a server literally turning off or on again, and I mean several 100,000 this week. You know, like it's always happening technically. But if you mean like character wipes happening, I would say none. But we don't plan on allowing offline characters to go online, but we're not deleting them. So somewhere between 0 and a few million. I need more info on the specifications of the question, please. I hope that gave you enough information to help out. Alright. Why are there so many minions in Last Epoch? Every class has so many minion options. Well, except mage and not really rogue either. I feel like it's limiting the choices of other builds that could potentially be available. I I think where this is coming from is dropping a lot of minion items on non-minion classes. And I like we like you do the math and it's actually not that bad. It's just there's a lot of it sticks out as a clear like, oh, I obviously can't use that because it says minion. So it sticks out a lot. But if this is the case, I would recommend also just trying to see if you can notice how many things are just the wrong element type or the wrong like damage type. They're not fire or they're not melee. You know, like there's lots of things like that. Now there's because minion is just minion or not. It's not 50-50 obviously, but it is just a Boolean value on if it's going to be immediately recognizable as potentially useful or not. So it's really easy to have things stick out with a single modifier as being obviously not for you. So I think that might be backing up that question a little bit, but I could be wrong. And I don't think there's really a disproportionate amount of minion builds. If we look at it by mastery of minion focused masteries compared to non-minion focused masteries, really there's like gonna be like, if you stretch it, let's say 5 out of 15, so a third will have minion heavy options, and all of them will be able to do non-minion builds. 2 of them not so great. So even if we say 2 of them are like forced down the minion path, 2 out of 15 is not bad, I don't think. All right. On the topic of 1.0 masteries, do you have plans? Do you have plans for extra QA cycles or CT testing for the new masteries before 1.0? Yeah. Certain other recent ARPGs have included large amounts of skills between beta 1.0 to great disaster, bugs, balance, etc. Yeah, there's they will get lots of testing and all that sort of stuff. It's possible we could open up a CT program build specifically targeted at balancing the new masteries. It's pretty, like, there's a lot of things between now and then in our development timeline. We're moving pretty fast, which is great, but details like that aren't quite fleshed out yet. It'll depend on a lot of different things. Especially internally, the new stuff always gets tons of playtime. Like just tons of playtime. I would not be surprised when they start coming out is just seeing like entire groups of that mastery when they start like coming out internally. Hello, I've been trying to find an answer to this question, but I don't have a clear answer from Discord. But will Uber endgame bosses / aspirational content be a thing? If so, can you share some ideas about it? Yes, first of all. Easy yes. As far as the first question. Second question, I can't really share much for you, unfortunately. Partially because it's not really developed yet. So lots can change between now and then. There are certain things that I kind of start to put in that category, like a T4 jewelry kill is pretty darn hard. Not every class can do it. Not every character can do it. Every class has a way to do it. But it's like, that's a gear up and go for it type situation. And it's kind of hard to draw the line on where aspirational content sits. It's a really tough thing to really draw the line on. And it changes frequently, I think, too. But yes, having like an Uber boss type thing to draw from other games as examples, yeah, that sort of thing is on the list. There are certain characters that we want to have represent as a prime evil, for lack of a better term, that are not in the game yet very intentionally, because we want them to be the focus of that launch event and that launch cycle, and possibly future storylines as well. Alright. Will there be currency and or money trades in the game? Most of the fun for me was selling items that I made obtained and getting rich, air quotes, by playing the trade market. Anything planned to allow this sort of thing in LE? So we do have plans for, and I'm going to be as nebulous about this as possible, some mechanism by which items can transition between different players. In some way. As vague as possible. To the extent that you're going after there about playing the market and focusing on that as a primary mechanic, no. I'm sorry. It pains me to say, but if that's what you're looking for, you're probably going to be disappointed. We're really trying to put emphasis on going out and killing monsters and having that be the primary way for most people to get their gear. So I think you'll have a tough time emulating that experience you may have had in other games playing a market like that. Nothing's set in stone, yada yada yada. But it's really something we're trying to hit home as the let's play the game and let's have whatever sort of nebulous description of a trade system, whatever that is doing. It's in support of that gameplay experience of going and killing monsters. Oh, lots of stuff going on here. Alright. I will rephrase and tag you. Sorry if I missed your last question. If a skill is gated behind passive points of a certain tree, so skills gated behind passive points of a certain tree, but you unspec those passive points, are you able to trigger it with its tree? It already was mentioned this is most likely an exploit. Yeah, it's if that's still happening, that's an exploit. I know that was a bug a long time ago. I thought we fixed it. You can trigger it, but it should never use the tree if you don't have that tree specialized. And as soon as your passives drop below the line for it on here, it should despecialize that, I think. There's some trickiness with that, in that we don't want people respecking similar builds to lose all the work they put into that if they're just going to put it back in right away. So there's some work to be done there to fix that. I think we've probably allowed the exploit case temporarily in order to alleviate the feels bad moment of losing your progress in that. Just for now, while it's still in early access. We do that sometimes, where we're just like, we know this bug is here, and when we fix this other problem, we can turn this bug off. But until then, we have to leave it in, because this other thing will get way worse if we don't do that. And especially if it just favors the player on both sides, we'll definitely do that. Sorry, I just came. What is the update on next patch? No information yet. As soon as there's, I know I'm never gonna stop the question. So when's the next patch? But unless you go on to every single platform we have, like Steam, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, our forums, our Discord, and there's not just a giant thing plastered up there with the number of when it's happening, it's no info yet. It will be so unbelievably obvious when it's coming as soon as that information's out. That's not something we're going to hide when it's public. So unless you can find it everywhere, you're not going to find it anywhere. Alright. Sorry, I never finished this question. I will rephrase the question and tag you and read the whole thing out. A skill is gated behind the passive points of a certain tree, but you unspec the passive points, you are still able to trigger it with its tree. It already mentioned this most likely is an exploit, but to be sure to ask again, I suppose this is not something we should rely on. Example, there are builds, they were tagged in 8.4 though, that trigger EQ, having it specialized, but 0 points in Shaman and seem to be using it. Yeah, okay, sorry, I did answer the whole thing. Yes, it's there for now. We may have patched that out in 8.5, I can't remember. I hope we did. I hope we found a way to fix it. If we didn't, previous explanations why. Alright, how am I supposed to import my Vegas slot machine sound filter? Sorry, too bad, so sad. What you can do is you can get a soundboard and put it in front of you, and then every time the item of that type drops, push the button that associates with it. Good to go. What's my favorite game of all time? Oh, that's such a hard question. This answer changes like weekly when I answer it, and there's like a dozen that sort of rise to the top of that. And I find myself relating my favorite game to when I played it a lot, because if I'm going to look at at games of, like, if I'm going to evaluate all those games right now of what's my favorite game of all time right now, it's kind of hard to do, because you look at those games that are maybe a little bit older and you say, like, well, the graphics are kind of crap now. They were great at the time. They were amazing at the time. Or like, oh, the controls have not aged well. They were great at the time. They're amazing at the time. And so it's tough question for me to answer, I think. But like, the games that there's a lot of Zelda games that always come to mind. A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, always come to mind when I hear that question. Just like original Mario Bros. Mario Bros. 3. Diablo 2, Civilization 5, Civilization 6, they both come to mind there. There's a lot of games that start filling into these gaps that it's hard to pick a favorite. But I think one of those ones I just mentioned is probably it. Alright. Next question. Fair enough, thanks. You're welcome. I don't remember the question you asked. I'm sorry. Will we have an option to enable to see actual value of ailments above 15 stacks? Yup! Well, no, you won't, because it's just going to happen always, all the time for everyone. So you won't have an option to enable it, because it'll just be on. The option will be play the game or not. Yeah, that's been fixed. It was a technical problem. We've found a workaround. Well, we found a fix, I think. I don't know what the best term for it is. We worked it out. We got it. It's great. I love the mini game of how many stacks can I stack on these enemies before they die in multiplayer is a ton of fun. We hit 50-something ignite stacks a few times yesterday, which was cool. Cool to see. Awful. Lots of room. No problem. Any plans to... why does the mage not have a spammable cold spell? It does! This is really interesting because we added it as a conversion to Lightning Blast. There's a cold conversion to Lightning Blast. And it works great as a cold spammable spell. And people didn't know about it. People were not finding it. So one thing we did was this Lightning Blast is actually what prompted these little icons here. So you can actually see which elements you can convert this to. So like Fury Leap can get lightning damage because it has this little thing here. So open up your skill panel here and look for ones that have cold logos on it. This is the cold logo here, by the way, that you may not realize can be converted to cold. Lightning Blast is there. We also put, it has one of these nodes, I think, in the mage tree is converts 2 skills to cold simultaneously. So we tried to put it in a few places to give it a little more obviousness that it's there, get it in people's faces. So yeah, cold spammable skill, go for it. Question, is there any plans to add DPS calc with dummies? Kind of like Terraria's DPS meter? No, there's not. Next question. Oh, I see someone underneath says Lightning Blast can be cold. Will we have an option to enable to see actual value? Yes, that's in question. About the server resets, what I meant is if we make a new guy with the multiplayer update, it will move to standard. Yes, that's the current plan. I'm still evaluating details on how it's going to work exactly. I can play in standard play with my friends without worry of another split, like it might become an offline character, if that makes sense. That's the current plan. Things might change. You know, currently the community tester characters that they're playing right now are isolated and will stay isolated and will not be moved over into the main population of characters. Once that, once like 0.9 gets released, CT characters will not be available. So everything that they're doing right now is wasted, and that's made super duper clear to them. I hope it was made super duper clear enough. If it's not, and you're in there, and this is news to you, maybe go read the welcome documentation again. The first couple lines of it. Alright. Long ago, back in my day, there was a poll on the forum. Which old skill should be reworked? Which included Tornado, Summon Bear among them. I don't recall anything coming out of it. Yeah, we kind of goofed on that one. We had planned to do that. And there was like, then we started doing a visual rework of Summon Bear. And then we almost actually pulled Tornado. And it was like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happened that was just like, oh, we should not have done this poll. It was really helpful to get people's opinions on it, and it actually did, like, we did use that information, which was great to have, but it didn't really work the way we'd hoped it to work as far as what we were going to do with it. So I'm sorry if you were hoping for a rework on one of those sooner than later. I'm pretty sure all the things that were in that poll are going to get a rework of some sort soon. But like, yeah, sorry about that. Not ideal. It was not intentional, I promise. Alrighty then. Question. Awesome. Is there any plan to add DPS? Oh, I already asked that. Are you getting rid of the time warp fake load screen? There's a lot of work that needs to be done there. I don't know any details on what's going to happen. I know there's... So, I know a lot of people are like, just put the load screen there. Like, just make it load while it's doing that. We did. It was terrible. We got an unbelievably overwhelming amount of feedback that we should stop that because it jitters. It doesn't run smooth. True additive loading is difficult on the client like that. So we don't have it planned just yet. Did I lose a whole bunch of these? Oh no! Oh, come on. I don't think I'm going to survive that if I stand in there. Let's go back in. Let's get him up. Come on. There we go. So companions, when they die, air quotes, they're just downed. And you can revive them by standing on them. Which allies can revive your downed minions in multiplayer. Downed companions, which is great. Sometimes it's a little tough to get in there, like you just saw. And I was using the displacement effect for my Warcry pull that I've spec'd into to stop that AoE charge up. To survive long enough to res them. What's one feature you've come across in game that made you go, holy, that's cool? Either gameplay or technically. Is related to what we were just talking about. We do have server-side additive loading for scenes in multiplayer, and as a result, when you come back to the echo of a world that I just did after completing an echo, it loads basically instantly. And it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah. When is the multiplayer released? It will not be released until 0.9. We don't have a set date on that. It will hopefully be before the end of the year. We're still working on it. We'll have a set date. When it is available, we plaster it everywhere. Mama, you knew you couldn't carry your CT characters over. Are you like 6 months, 1 year, 2 years plus out for seasons of 1.0? Sorry, no info. Please tell me to focus. Please tell me focus will be reworked. It feels terrible standing still to get mana. It's like playing WoW Classic as a mage having to drink after each pull. If you've got specific feedback on certain skills, please head on over to the forums to suggest reworks and changes to them and give feedback on them. It's hard for me to give you details on things like this that are going to happen until they've happened. There's no planned reworks for focus being a channeled skill by default. I frequently see, so like this is not uncommon feedback. Most of the time, not always, most of the time when I see something like this, I like to ask, what skills are you using? What's your build like? And frequently, I'm trying to be super vague here because I have no idea what your situation is, but frequently the answer is something along the lines of, oh, I want to spam Glacier, or I want to spam Meteor, but I don't want to stop to regen mana while using the most mana intensive abilities in the game. And it kind of goes, it's a great idea. It would be lovely if it were possible, I guess. It would completely ruin the viability of so many abilities if it were possible. And we don't really have plans to make that be the case at the moment. There are lots of options for mana regeneration, and what I suggest is try speccing more into flat mana if you can, and then on top of that, try working in a second ability into your build. Try grabbing Fireball. Try grabbing Lightning Blast and converting it to Ice. Try, like, if you're Meteor or Glacier, those two things, because there'll be a lot of synergies and overlaps there. Try working in a second ability there that you can use that costs 0 mana. And quite often the response I get from that is, well, I do have that already. And then I'm like, okay, but do you have the nodes which increase the mana cost of those abilities a whole bunch? Well, obviously they deal more damage, so yes, is usually the reply. And this, I'm not saying this is exactly the situation, but that's frequently the, I knew I was greedy going back there. Well, it serves me right. Anyways, that's frequently how that conversation goes. And I've had that conversation a few dozen times. That's why I say, it's not always, frequently, and pretty generalized. I hope I'm at least close to the mark. But you might be pushing a little. Oops, I just totally clicked on. Looks like we're fighting a Shade. Empowered Shade. Here we go. No big deal. No big deal. Easy, easy. So my advice would be try looking and seeing if your build can do something else to generate mana other than focus, possibly through passive generation of just time, using other ability, or you can also try using other direct abilities like Mana Strike. You don't have to be a Spellblade to use Mana Strike. Especially if you're using lightning damage primary on your main abilities, like if you're doing like a high, like a Spark Charge build, it can be a lot of damage there. Oh yeah, he's tough, but I think I can probably just like sit back and do this and be like, "Good job, guys! You got this! I believe in you." See, no problem. There's a cool ring. We don't really need it, but it takes up no space at all. Grab a couple potions while we're here. Will there be a way of customizing the UI like add-ons or movable UI? Happy to see game come to the state it's in. Not currently in the plans to do. There's quite a few reasons for us not wanting to do that right away. It's possible that someday we might consider that. For now, it's just sorry, not right now. Does playing with the map open ever annoy you? No, does it annoy you? Because I can turn it off if it's a problem. Speaking of down, is there any plan to make similar down but not out state for party members, at least arena or dungeons? It's a very interesting question, and especially that you've suggested arena dungeons as a topic for that. We're talking about it. Current plan is no. Maybe, though. What's the reason for using Eric's Bone when you already have Armor Shred from Herald of Scurry? Next question. I don't have a good answer. You're totally right. I should take it off. Let's find another weapon. Let's find another weapon. It's probably increased effect. That's an Eric's. That's nice. But yeah, I think we could probably do a lot better with a better weapon. Honestly, it was probably just like I put this build together probably around level 75 to just like get this on, and I was trying not to go too crazy with the gear, so I probably did that as a sort of like a budget option. You may notice that we're just in yellows, right? 1 exalted, 2 uniques, only one of them's really necessary for the build, and we're level 85. We're doing a powered monoliths, like. Yes, we have an extremely strong unique. But we don't have any nutso gear here. We're pretty low tier gear overall. I think I may have been trying to prove that you didn't need a ton of gear if the build was good as well. When I made this, it's quite a while ago. I'm feeling the damage taken pretty heavily though, so I might want to. We might do a little gear buff up. Hi guys, will there be servers in South America? Yup. There was a full list of server locations that was revealed on the both Zizaran and Steelmage interviews, I believe. That information, I think Andrew Tilley, I want to say, compiled it onto our forum threads, and there's probably a text searchable version that has all of the server locations on there. It's pretty worldwide. Like, the only one that was still on maybe I think was South Africa, I think. Which if we don't do that would be the biggest gap, I think, in the coverage. And there's still some other gaps that are not fantastic, but yeah, it's pretty solid coverage. We're using a company that's been doing this for a long time. If you play RPGs, you've probably used their servers before. Yeah. This is not something it's something we decided not to mess around with, and to make sure we got a good quality set of servers that we knew would hold up to scrutiny. And I'm really happy we decided that, because it does feel good. Where it comes down to the like lag problems and anything like that do exist are things that we have the power to solve ourselves, because what we're relying on that's not something we made ourselves is solid. Oh, it was close. Survived. It's warm in here today. My server's on. Okay, it's off now. I forget to turn it off for these, and the temperature just creeps up just a little bit. Alright. It would have been hilarious if Shade had turned around and one-shot you when you took your hands off the keyboard. Yeah, that would have been funny, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would have been funny. Are you guys thinking for... You know what? I'm going to pause here for a quick second. Sorry if I just, like, started to, like, read your question and just stopped, because I'm the worst. Tease, right? Yeah. I do have some spoilers that I brought with me today. Aha! And I completely forgotten about them. Usually I get people asking for them, which is fine. It's not a problem. That's usually how I use to remember to show them. So here's just a little clip. Just displaying a few, just a little combat scenario. with a lot of combat improvements that are coming in the game, just on hit effects, death animations, various VFX for different things. There's a lot of little updates in here. Just showing it off a little bit. I think the volume. There's the volume slider for it. Oh, they're so loud. Mention them down a little bit. Bunch of video clips today. There we go. That's it. First little teaser. I got several today. Yeah, several. You know what? I think we're gonna do a little bit of, if not crafting, maybe some crafting. Our necrotic is low. Our cold is a little low. Our poison is very low. Do we have any fortune potential on any of our gear? Yes! A tiny bit! Huzzahs! And it's all T5s. Wow. Okay. Okay. Avoidance here. Okay, let's try and re-roll this. Let's try and seal it first. No, let's try and re-roll it into something. I mean, necrotic is nice, but we lose a bunch of crit avoidance. Can we seal this maybe? Nope. Let's oh, I'm sorry. I forget that I gotta get my head out of the way. Oh, no fortune potential. Okay, let's chaos this into something. Maybe we'll get lucky. Cold res. Armor's good too. Health is great. Okay, let's try and seal the health. And we're out of fortune potential. Oh, a few bad rips there. That's unfortunate. The dodge rating's kind of like this is not. Just get that out of there. Slap a discovery on it. Dex. Reroll that. Vitality. That's pretty nice. This item is quickly becoming not terrible, huh? Huh? Did we get there? Lose a bunch of cold res, go dodge rating instead. That's not really what we want, do we? We actually made a decent item. But I don't think it's actually better because we need that cold res. It's only 5. You know what? We're going to use those. 5 cold res, not that big of a deal. Can we find... We're well over on fire, so let's pull this out. Let's pull that out. Void, we're well over on void. Okay, so let's find some 1x1s. Some 3 1x1s for as much cold, poison, or necrotic as we can find. Cold. Necrotic. Elemental. Cold. Yeah, let's do cold. Sure. Not perfect, but a little bit better. And I think we got a bunch of dodge rating, which is not great for us, but you know, it's better than nothing. We got a tiny bit more fire and +1 strength. Ha ha! I'm gonna give it a shot. Alright, next question. What are you guys thinking for item drops for multiplayer? Keep them dropped as ID'd, yes. Or will there be an introduction of ID mechanic for server resource reasons? No, so items will drop specifically... So first of all, dropping them un-ID'd and IDing them after the fact, I believe would cause more server calls, because you'd have to ask the server what the item was. So if anything... dropping them ID'd is bad for servers. I think. Unless I'm missing something there. I'm unsure of the answer. My instinct says that it's better to drop them ID'd for the servers. Not 100% confident there. Come on, buddies, this way! Huzzah! Follow me to victory! And nuts! No, can you feel your blood begin to drain out of you quickly? Sorry, that was a little extreme. This is gonna be tricky. Also, items drop specifically for your, for you, so they are instance loot drops. So you don't see everyone else's drops anyways. So basically everything just stays the same of the way it is now. Nope, stay fighting him. Oh boy. It's like the Olympics here. Oh no, get out of that. Squirrely boys! Do your duty! Do you have any cool named ones? I hope so. Yeah, get it, get it. Those boots do not do great stuff for this build, so we're not going to pick them up. Alright, what do we want? Bow drop rate, two-handed staff drop rate, wand drop rate, or dagger drop rate? Well, nothing here is good. Now, there's a really important thing to note here that I get questioned about a lot, is that if there's nothing good here, does picking one of these actually decrease the drop rates of the things that I want? No, it actually increases your total drops, thus not negatively impacting you ever, even if the thing you're getting is just useless for your character. So right now I don't need any of these. So I'm just going to pick the highest rolled one. So that it shows up in here as a bigger number. Nope, not that one. Which one is it? That one. Yeah. It's the empowered. Oh, it's that little yellow thing. That's not spaced nicely. Is that? Whatever. Alrighty then. Oh, the horror of that inventory. Yeah, it's pretty bad, eh? What's your favorite skill in the game? That's tricky. I really love bow skills. And I've been having a ton of fun with Cinder Strike lately. But multi-shot's my favorite. I know it's not the strongest, but multi-shot's just my favorite. Alright, I think some suitable punishment for Last Epoch game, like creating a genetically engineered bacterium that eats all Magic the Gathering cards and turns them into Italian lyre notes, or something? No. Not even made of the same material. Okay. Let's go find... we really want a helmet. We also want a weapon that does cool minion stuff, don't we? I mean, do we equip this? Melee fire damage for you and your minions? Auto revive for our down companions? Is this just what we switched to because we realized this is not awesome? This one. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. I'd like to get an Exalted Helmet to try and make a legendary out of my Herald of the Scurry. I have a feeling all Exalteds should be shown, right? Show all Exalteds, yeah. Alright, so that's pretty nice. Mega damage, that's pretty nice. Dodge rating. Yeah, we can do better than dodge rating. Let's go here and start working towards this, I think. You know, I've got another. Oh, I'm on the wrong side, aren't I? I'm on the wrong side. The whole boss fight was flipped for me. I'm surprised they even managed to do it at all. You may have noticed that some of the character VFX for certain shrines, the VFX that's around you, is not awesome. So we've gone through and we've started to update the VFX that goes around your character when you pick up shrines. So here's a little preview of the Stun Shrine VFX on your character. It's a little update there for you. Alright. I assume there will be trading in multiplayer. Define trading, and then I'll tell you if that's a huge assumption or not. Will items be bound to members where you were present at the time, or anything can be traded to anyone? We do not have any details about how trade will be set up at the moment that I can share with you. I apologize. Fully non-answer. I know, it sucks. The beard is glorious, by the way. Thank you. I worked very hard on it. I don't. I have this beard comb. It's a nice wooden beard comb by some company that has a very tasteful engraving of their logo, but has no information on who they are on it. I love it. It's very simple, straightforward. I comb my beard every day, and I wash it with soap. All right. Turn this off just because it's been going for a while. Hi! I've always been curious about the topic of game design on RPGs. What are your thoughts on death effects? Like, should they belong in an RPG where you are clicking for loot? Yeah, I think they're great. I know that's a controversial opinion. Absolutely. I think the key of them is there are ways to do them right and ways to do them wrong. And I think the feedback to the player that the fight's not over yet is really important. So there needs to be an indicator that something's going to happen, and it needs to show up like immediately when the death effect happens. When the death happens, there needs to be some indicator that there's going to be a follow-up. This is not over. Get ready. There's more. You're not done. Sound, visual. There's all sorts of stuff you can do for that. And it's important to have all those things available so that you can communicate that better. Like, I know we're in a fresh monolith here, and there's less of mods stacked up and everything, but I think the minions are doing way more damage. We'll see how we feel. Yeah, overall, it's another dynamic. It's another style of ability you can put in there. Every time you pull an ability like that out, or a style mechanic out of a game entirely, it just reduces the number of options you have and increases the homogenization of the encounters you're facing. Which I think is it takes away from the fun for me personally. This is great. This is the old stun VFX. just saw the new one. Here's the old one. Are on-hit effects as mods a consideration? On gear. Yes, there are several. I'm curious if there's any plans to allow players to alter legendary potential in the future other than just from raw drops. Not at the moment. Doesn't mean it'll never happen, but we don't have any specific concrete plans for it currently. Do the devs think ailments, not including poison, in terms of power, are ahead, behind, or on par with hit crit builds? Master Sword, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to give you a concrete answer just right from there. I'll look at the rest of the question in a second, but I think that I don't think there's a concrete. I don't think there's a good answer to that question at all. And I think it requires examination of individual builds more specifically, and individual abilities more specifically to really evaluate properly. But here's second half of the question. And how does the incoming ailment changes accomplish or facilitate that perspective? I personally think ailments, aside from poison, are slightly behind strong crit builds. You might be right on that. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't think that there's I think well-made Ignite, we'll use it as an example because it's one of the dots you're talking about. A well-made Ignite build is better than a poorly made crit build, and a well-made crit build is better than a poorly made Ignite build. Where does that line cross? You know, of like where does it flip? Where it's still like do two equally made a crit build and an Ignite build that are equally quality made, is that generally better one way or the other? Probably. Do I think it's an extreme difference? No. The primary goal behind the ailment changes is less about balance relative to other archetypes, and more about just like better usability, better comprehension, things like that. It's more where it's focused. Drops unique item. I don't think. Alright. Are there also any plans to just unlock monoliths once you've unlocked powered monoliths? Does it get tedious on multiple characters? We don't have any specific plans for anything with that. If you have feedback on the matter, please head on over to the forums, where we will be happy to read all the stuff you've got and where it can be discussed and compiled. Sorry if the question was asked, but when will the next patch be? By the way, watch Zizaran stream a multiplayer. Nice job. Well, if you watch the next Zizaran stream, you will know when the next patch is. I feel like I probably answered that question since you asked that question, just because I've answered it a few times recently, so I'm not gonna. Sorry, probably should have been Lira, the currency used before they joined the Euro. It's alright, Llama. I forgive you. Cars is only nice if you go for cold conversion meme, in my honest opinion. Well, I mean, we've got our frozen boys here that are doing the cold conversion for us. I think we're good. It's my favorite shrine, by the way. Just like look at how much they freeze everything. The CC's unbelievable. So good. Oh, alright, next question. And don't forget to put at Last Epoch Game in your questions. But I think this is one. I'm gonna read it out and see what it is. My friend been recommending this game for at least 3 months non-stop. I can't get him to shut up about it. I hope the multiplayer will be live soon, just so I can join his session and ninja steal all his loot to literally make him stop talking to me about it. Well, sorry to say, loot is instant, so you can't take any of his gear. If it was asked before, you can skip it. I know trade is not set in stone. but how would it affect drop rates and what SSF considerations? So the general goal, and this is, I'm just repeating what I said before here. The general goal is to have it impact drop rates in SSF as little as possible. We know that it will not be completely separate from it, so we will have to take it into consideration when looking at drop rates and SSF, but it's something that we're hoping will have as little impact as possible, and we're designing it as such. Alrighty then, next question. Continuing with the on-death effect conversation, is there any work being done to better communicate to the player when a rare is going to revive after 2 seconds? I don't think so. It does say very clearly when you're killing it that it's going to do that. There might be something we can do better in like the VFX on the ground, possibly. I think the revive is a lot different than the explosion. So the big difference there is that an explosion, if you stand in it, it just will kill you when it happens. The revive, the enemy then has to do something to kill you. So there's time between when it revives and when you're actually taking damage from it. But I could see like more clear effects possibly. It's an option. If you've got feedback or suggestions on the matter, please head on over to the forums and leave that there. Flaming varnish of wounds. Not on my watch. Oh, it is so hot in here. Oh my gosh, did I catch up? Question about sets. Answer's gonna be nothing yet, sorry. Let's read the question though and find out. Are they ever going to get some treatment similar to LP? Currently it feels like they just aren't as long-term viable as uniques and legendaries feel. It's possible. We don't have any specific plans for them at the moment. I hope we're able to make them a viable and interesting part of overall build crafting and late game decisions for what you're going to use. It is tricky to have them be viable and not overpowered. They have extremely long tooltips already, so adding new stats to them is difficult. Finding ways to have them scale into late game is and have it be easily communicated is definitely tricky. Tying that into a separate mechanic or dungeon reward, I think, would be a decent way to do that. It's still not decided or designed or set or anything like that, but it's possible we'll see something. We don't have any current plans for them right now. We're just looking at ones that we feel are end-game targeted. So one of the really nice things about Legendary system and uniques is that even uniques that are not designed to be end-game uniques suddenly can become end-game viable if they have enough LP on them. You just slap the extra stats on them, and their unique effect can carry them through. So sometimes and because we're not doing that specifically with set items, we are looking at ways to have them scale better. Sometimes that is just making their stats scale better, making their set bonuses scale better. Having them be things that naturally scale well with other things that are naturally taken, that are obvious pickups in builds that are related to them. Things like that. And we've buffed a few of them very recently. It's tough because as soon as a set item, a set piece, like a set, like a 3-4 piece set, becomes the clear, like, let's say there was a 4-piece set that was, okay, this is this build's, like, these are the items you're wearing on this character build. It's this 4-piece, and you gotta get all 4 pieces to make it work. Half of your character, pretty well, okay, let's say a third of your character character items are dictated by the set, and you can't probably do your build until you've got the whole set, right? Not ideal. So that's sort of a trap we're trying to avoid, and I think we feel that having many of those early game sets, mid game sets, even early end game sets not feel super viable and important and impactful with late game builds is probably a better situation than to have a whole bunch of sets that are ubiquitous and autocomplete for characters. I think if you're gonna err on one side or the other, I think we're erring on the right side. Since you were complaining that nobody was asking for spoilers earlier, I guess I could do that for you. Demand to see spoilers! Okay, sure. I think we saw the Crit Shrine recently in game, so here's a Crit Shrine visual update. Yeah. That little red action. That's it. Hope you liked it. I got more. I got all sorts of them. Actually, I don't have that many more. I've got 1, 2. I got 3 more. Do you follow other games? I follow lots of other games. Basically, all I do is just sit and read video game news and play video games and make video games and spend time with my family. Those are kind of games and family time. Basically all I do. Thoughts on the issues with Path of Exile's most recent league? I'm sorry, I really try and avoid commenting too heavily, especially from a critic perspective on Path of Exile's content. I bring it up and make comparisons from time to time, and sometimes I'll use it as a, like, here's what they do, here's what we do. They're different. I try not to say, I try not to make too qualitative comments, too many qualitative comments if I can avoid them. And I have not played the most recent Path of Exile League. Well, not for any reasonable amount of time where I feel like I can make an informed comment on it. I also think that there's a lot, like, I can make general comments about Path of Exile leagues and the differences that they have compared to us in their content and content requirements and content expectations pretty easily. So I think there's a big difference between the like where each game is in their life cycle. Like, they're gearing up for Path of Exile 2. There's like, and we're still in early access, right? So there's big differences there just on the types of content that we're going to be looking at releasing as far as games are concerned. And I think I do think it is very impressive, the sheer volume of content and new stuff for people to do that they pump out so reliably. Yeah. I don't really have much else to say on the topic. I'm sorry. I'd love to leave more comments. There's people out there with so much more knowledge on the situation that are giving way more informed takes on what's going on, and I'd urge you to go have conversations with those people instead, because they're way more smarter than I am about it. That's right. Way more smarter. What I picked up was pretty nice. Let's do a little crafty craft. Nope, wrong one, this one. Let's just see what we can get out of it. You know, have some fun with it. Let's try, right off the bat, sealing this. Again? Yeah, that's a T4 endurance threshold sealed. Take that. Take that all the way to the bank. Now, if we do switch this out, we are losing a ton of Void and Fire res. Can we afford to lose that? What happens if we just take it off? Fire's close. Void needs help, so I think we're going to go for Void. Void? Boom. All the way up. Minion health. They're not really dying that much, but I don't really want... I feel like re-rolling that's just going to go into something bad. So I'm just going to up it. Health regen. I think I'm going to re-roll this. See what I get. Yeah! Yeah, alright! If we lose the attunement, get minion health, that's probably not a great trade. But, you know, we get the endurance threshold sealed, which is really nice. The extra minion health. Yeah. Losing the leech? But, yeah, I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna wear it. That's just funny. Where Rez is like, yeah, we're still cats. Let me just turn the dev console commands off. All right, there, it's off. Rune words when? I mean, when they're ready. No, rune words are really interesting. They use overlapping systems with our current crafting that we can't really do directly. I don't think. We could pull in a fully different crafting system, or not like I don't know how to say it. I think it would be a cool thing to add in as a dungeon reward. And we couldn't probably do it exactly the same as rune words have been done elsewhere, but I think we could do something similar. And I think the key parts of rune words and something that we tried to evoke a little bit in the in our legendary crafting is the sense that you are finding rare items and pieces that need to be combined together to make another item. And they're individual pieces that could be used on their own, and are quite rare on their own. And it's that, like, I found one piece of the thing I'm trying to make. Here's the next piece of what I'm trying to make. And so there's elements of that we definitely tried to evoke in our legendary crafting. Yes, Judd, I was like, just at your question. Yes, I saw the DMs right now. Like, I got. Can you ask the good people in chat if they like the name Alliances or Convergence for patch 0.9? Yes, I can do that. Hey guys, do you like the name Alliances or Convergence for patch 0.9 as a patch name title? We've named patches before. And it's a trend we're going to continue doing. Just a quick survey. Oh, can we do a poll? Is that a thing? Can I do a poll? How do I do a poll? Someone teach me how to Twitch. /poll. Does that work? /poll. I don't know if this is gonna do it. That's spelled right. Just copy paste will be easier. There we go. It was spelled wrong. Here we go. My first Twitch poll. Yeah, I think. Nailed it. And because we never have anything to do with those points, I let you buy more votes with points. Oh my god, it's like a bug on my ceiling. Not anymore. Yeah. Hello! It's my first time on your stream. Welcome, glad to have you with us. No idea if this was asked before. Do you know when Warlock is coming out? Yes, I do. Well, kind of. It will coincide with the release of 1.0, and I do not know when 1.0 will release. But they will be simultaneous events, along with Falconer and Runemaster as well. Do you plan to add private cycles? If so, what do you think customization? What do you think about customizable difficulty? I think it's a very cool feature. I do not think it is a 1.0 launch feature, and we're really focused on 1.0 right now on what we're discussing, designing, all that sort of stuff. So, if we do have that, it's something that will be talked about more, designed more, worked on more post 1.0, and So I don't know anything about it yet. Oh, a little bit of a damage spike there. Got him. Got him. Alright, Convergence is winning. 68% of the votes. 2/3. Do pretty good. Still got time to vote. I don't know how long I set the poll for. It's about 10 minutes, I think. What about item sets for gear swapping? Say I have more than one build for my character. Can I save gear set? And if I have the items in my stash, can I swap between different gear easily to equip a different build in one shot? We're not currently planning on having this feature. I think it is a little bit precluded by the fact that you can't just switch your spec completely. In order to respec your character, you have to regain that experience properly, and also as there is a gold cost to this as well. I think doing part of that is tricky without the other part of it. So we're not planning on that currently. It's something that we could do in the future possibly, but it's not on the list yet. Apparently, I'm told the 200 points to buy a new vote is extremely low. My bad, that's what the default is. Poll noob, yeah! Moving on, since we're all beta testing, what are your goals in progression of the game while single player is still being tested? Anything specific? What are your goals in progression of the game? So, like, I think, I'm not 100% sure on this question, sorry, but I think what you're asking is, like a player's goals in progression in single player? Like what are if the Royal You is playing the game and you're trying to do more and more stuff, what are those benchmarks, what are those progression goals? I think that's what you're asking. I'm sorry. There's a few challenges, so like top tier dungeons, T4 dungeons, and then basically just either pushing arena or pushing monolith as high as you can go. We're still looking at more capstone content to come in, so there's more things you can point to and say, hey, is this build uber viable? Is this build whatever viable? And I think it's a pretty big missing piece right now as far as the term viable goes, because I frequently do get the question, hey, is this build viable? Well, yes, now define viable. Or no, now define viable. Like, you know, it's tricky, and so I think viable for what, and having those consistent goals is important. I kind of went off a little bit there. I reword that question if I didn't get anywhere close to it. Sorry. Now the real question is what's that red beam on the Crit Shrine teaser? I missed it. The screen's tiny for me because it doesn't actually pop on my screen. It was probably a drop beam for a key, because I don't think keys have drop beams right now. Oh, they do. Was it that? Likely that. Or it was a legendary on the ground. Like a unique that's turned into a legendary. It was probably that. You probably don't see many of those because you probably don't drop them very often. Fine by you. You want 100 bits or I double it and give it to another streamer? Yeah, like double it and go give it to someone who like real small. Go find the smallest streamer that you can give bits to. Do that. Or go find a Last Epoch streamer. Yeah, there we go. Go find a Last Epoch streamer and give it to them. Someone who's streaming our game. Even better. How do you guys decide which engine you would build the game around? Also, was Unreal an option? Yeah, Unreal is something that was considered. So it's built in Unity. A lot of our early decisions in development were based around what can we afford. Like this was well over a year of literally no one getting paid for anything, and just You got some time to work on it this weekend? Yeah, I got some time to work on it this weekend. Let's see if we can get done. And it started out very much as like, what software is free? Is it good enough? All right, let's go. And that got us a long way, which is really the key to this all getting going and even happening at all. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff that happened in the early days of development. Unreal was looked at. There's a lot of there's a lot of resources that are available with Unreal, and sometimes you pay for them in different ways that aren't just money. And I think it's a really strong engine. And there's a lot of really great features there that would be lovely to have. But I'm really happy with the path we took and the systems we made. And yeah. Doing great. Alright, next question. I like your explanation about sets. I'm not a game designer, but personally I think they are lazy design in most games that are implemented, like Diablo 3, Grim Dawn, Assassin's Creed games, many others. They're a huge turn off for me when they define a build instead of refine it. Yeah, it's really tricky. It's a really delicate balance, and I don't think we've got it right. And we've taken cautious steps to mitigate the problems with it, which is not awesome, but I think it's the best we can do at the moment, which we're still definitely looking to improve. Casual T4 seal, yeah, you know, buddy, no big deal. Good graphics deal too, eh? I need more context for the names before I decide. Too bad. I find that very quickly I have basically infinite common tier shards. Do you want to add some kind of shard sync for that kind of thing? Oh yeah, don't worry, we got you back. Oh yeah, ooh, Honeybee, love that item. Yeah, we got you back on that. We have plans for specific mechanics involving shards to refine your available shard pool for more focused shard usage based on your specific needs. Thanks for the answer. You're welcome. Just release it already, Mike? Release what? Oh my gosh. That's a low ceiling. Yeah. It is a low ceiling. I can right now the palms of my hands are on my ceiling right now. And yes, my arms are still bent. This is an office I built in my garage. Will classes get more skills? Yup. Some of them sooner than others. So some classes you'll see are missing skills still. So when Shaman's final skill is here, so this skill right here is Shaman's last skill. It's actually like here. So this gets moved down one, and it goes in the place of like Summon Sabretooth and Entangling Roots for Shaman. Once that's there, this is what a full complement of launch skills looks like. So 1.0, every class will have this many skills, plus 1 for Shaman. So 5 for every mastery, 8 of them unlocked through levels, 4 of them unlocked through base class skill progression, passive skill progression, sorry. So that's our final 1.0 launch skill complement. However, there's lots of room to add more. And we do plan on adding more skills down the road, whether that's in the passive tree, whether that's more mastery skills, whether that's new class level skills, whether that's whether they're unlocked via different other ways, maybe, possibly, who knows. Oh, we had our poll finish there. Wow. Flintler contributed 17,000 channel points and no impact on the overall outcome at all, I'm sure. Looks like we had a pretty big win by Convergence. That's pretty fun. Thank you all for participating. I appreciate that. Alright. You also can't spell patch. I can't spell patch, really? Did I seriously mistake this patch spelling? Oh my god. I spilled water on my keyboard recently, and I'm using the backup one. Excuses. Grumble. Moving on. I'm sure the data exists, but has there been any discussion on giving players access to character stats such as time played and deaths? Time played stats do not exist, actually. So, no, we have not given discussion to. We've considered trying to track it and allowing it to be available and all sorts of stuff. And it might be a little different once we get into multiplayer. Some of the stats are really cool. Death stats, yeah, that is tracked. And like there is a deathless tag that shows up here if you've never died. But yes, we've definitely considered what stats we want to make available, what metadata stats for your character. That's been talked about. I can't really say for sure if any of them will happen or if they do when or anything like that. But yeah, it's been talked about. So there was a good example of on-death explosion and revive effects, both. So the on-death, immediately that circle appears. The revive, there's a very large VFX that happens when the revive happens. Be like, something revived here. And then you still get to fight it, so it still has to attack. Hey, I just got here. Have you answered any questions on shifting little power away from tree into gear? No, I haven't had any questions about it. Remember to at Last Epoch game. Yeah, I did see that one. I see the ones that says first time chat, because I think a lot of people who are first time chatters don't know that rule. And it's not really posted anywhere, so it's not that big of a deal, and I try and answer those ones too. Twitch kind of gives you a helping hand if it's your first time here. Twitch with the assist. Get through. Alrighty. I've been kind of saving some of these. Yeah. I never got my helmet. I'm gonna play this next week, and I'm gonna make sure I try and find a helmet. Make sure I try and find a helmet. Yeah, I can definitely control that. And we'll make our legendary herald. But for now, I got a couple questions still. Oh, water on the keyboard doesn't have that effect. Been there, done that. Well, when it typed one letter, it would type another letter. But no, I'm typing on a different keyboard, so my finger slipped. Just use the on-screen keyboard now. You just spilled water on your keyboard, so all of your code recently wrote have dyslexia. Guys, I know my excuse is unraveling at the seams very quickly, but like throw me a little bone, maybe. Don't put so many holes in it right away. No. Hopefully this doesn't come off as a loaded question. I probably will, but that's okay. I get them all the time around here. All right, let's move on to read it. I'm not the biggest fan of seasons passes. Yeah, I think there's. I'll talk. I got some hot takes on season passes. I'll throw your way, as long as we don't die here. As I don't like the idea of paying for the opportunity to unlock stuff and losing out what you didn't unlock in time. Are seasons passes being considered with cycles? So, I think let's break down different elements of seasons passes for a second here. There's quite often a purchased track on a seasons pass and a free track on a seasons pass. And there's a big difference, I think, in how it feels to not complete elements of a free seasons pass track compared to a paid season pass track. So there's big differences there for sure. As far as I'll speak to my personal feelings on it as well in a minute here. But I also want to say we haven't talked about this in depth enough to be like, yes, we're doing this. No, we're not doing this. It's not currently planned, but like, who knows if we ever do anything like this or not at this point. So it's too early to really give a clear, concrete answer to the question. But I just want to talk generally about seasons passes a little bit. And I think that there's ways to do seasons passes or similar mechanics where it actually just feels great. And I think it has to do with the A, whether or not you spend money on it. B, how concentrated the effects are and the bonuses are that affect gameplay directly. So whether that's unlocking gear, gaining experience buffs, like drop rate buffs, things like that, things that actually impact gameplay compared to things that are purely cosmetic. So I think there's ways to do this in a more casual friendly, a less, I don't know how to say this without taking digs at other games. I'm trying not to do. I think there's lots of ways you can implement season pass style mechanics while having them just feel like quests, just cycling quests, really. And that's basically what it is it's a batch of new quests that show up, but they're presented not in a game world way. They're presented in a menu usually. And I really like the idea of a quest chain that's thematically linked to whatever the new season is, and having there be earnable rewards there. And I think actually Diablo 3 does a really good job of this, in the sense that they have these things you can earn, and I don't like the set item system in Diablo 3, and that's pretty heavily linked to this, so I'm trying not to conflate the two. But I think overall, the way it's free, you're opting into completing specific challenges, you're getting a few in-game rewards out of it. Mostly it's just cosmetic stuff. I think it's been a while since I've done one, and I think there's a lot of positives there for sure. But yeah, it's a tricky minefield to negotiate if you're going to do something like that, I think. And I think there's ways to do it right. And I think lots of games have been successful in a lot of ways. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I hope that answers your question. Oh, I got a bunch of questions here. We're gonna go overtime a little bit. I'm gonna try and hammer out as many of these questions quickly. I'm sorry I won't go into any depth on any of these questions. I got a couple more spoilers to share as well, and then we'll be out of here. So I'm gonna toss up. I think I didn't show this one yet. Hey Strine. Why is this game not free to play? A whole bunch of reasons. We feel it's a pretty reasonable price. Any plans on increasing monster density? Many players feel the game is too empty without load of enemies. There's a few things that cause specific scenes in their generation to generate fewer enemies than we intended. That's definitely getting looked at. There's also some performance concerns that we didn't generate quite as many enemies as we maybe wanted to help alleviate performance problems. A lot of that's going away too, so good news there. It's going to be an ongoing thing, and I think after a lot of these changes that happen that are coming up is going to improve it. I think you'll get a little bit higher density at endgame on average, but nothing extreme. Last question before bedtime. Will there be any way to expand your skills beyond the skill trees and idols? Add new damage types, enhance skills with new unique mechanics, etc. You missed items, so yes. Since your further elaboration, I will refine my question to what is my primary desires for your 1.0 patch that you have not yet discussed. Oof. I can't tell you. I'm sorry, because we haven't discussed them, and they're under wraps. I just got here. Have you answered any questions on shifting? Oh, you already answered that. Running out of time for the spoilers. Yeah, I'm working on it. What's your background story in tech? Oh, come next time and ask that question, because it's pretty long. The TLDR, I spent 10 years as a computer repair technician in a shop doing on-sites, things like that. Went and got a computer science degree, started working on games, got here. It's the real condensed version. Oh, we made it. All right, we're at the end. I have, I think, a couple more things here too, don't I? Here's another just general combat compilation. I try and save some of these for like when I die, and I didn't die, which is crazy. So when I've got a lot of them, I gotta be a little less stingy with them. I'm sorry, guys. some combat effects, some visual things that are happening, some on hit effects and death effects, things like that. And one last thing here is a new set of armor coming for the Acolyte. Looks gorgeous, looks beautiful. Glad to have that here. I did die. Did I die? Oh my god, I did die. I didn't show a spoiler. So sorry. Mike's the worst. There we go. All right. With that, it's time to say goodbye. I hope you had fun. I know I did. Glad to see you all. Please come by next time and say how do you do. I'll be here same time, same place. If you have any more questions that I did not get to and you'd like answered, please head on over to our Discord, to our forums, to our Reddit. All sorts of fun stuff that we got going on there. Plenty of time to ask questions. And I will be we try and do our best to answer as many of them as we can. And right now we're going to go over, we have a very special stream. One of our friends, Aaron, Action RPG, is doing a very special stream, so I'm going to talk to you guys over there. I know he's got lots of fun stuff planned, so if you've got some more time left in you tonight, if you're in Europe, it's going to get late, but if you're in North America, tons of fun stuff. Stick around. See you later, everybody.